Good. All right, let's pull up. Is Gabriella here? There she is. How are you?
I'm well, Zach. How are you?
I am better now that you're here. I promise you. Um, we wanted to pull up Gabriella as she is absolutely crushing it. Well, and certainly is following every single step that we've taught. And I know that she's had some great ups, some great wins, but also some struggles here as well. Because we did state, day one, this is not easy. This is simple. It's not easy. So we're going to peek into Gabriella's brain. Then also, I'm going to call on some others that I know that just got started as well, and we'll call out some wins and some challenges right now as well, because we want to be as transparent as possible at this point in time too. So, Gabriella, if you don't mind, just kind of tell us your background. Who you are, where you're from, how long you've been with us.
So I'm originally from Montreal and came to America to go to school. And like everybody else, you get married and you plant some roots, and here I am. Um, what I am is a case manager. Uh, and my husband and I just decided that we wanted to get into real estate. So we do what most do. We went to YouTube University, got started, bought our first investment property, and kind of stumbled onto an owner finance deal. Didn't really know much about it, educated the sellers on what we knew, and stumbled through the process, picked up the property, but wanted to know more. And in my quest to learn more, I found the community, and just looking at the podcasts and coming to the weekly sessions, we decided that it was something that we were going to jump into, and here we are. We started with QLS and then 90-day, and now Starter.
Awesome. And tell us, why you decided to join the community. I know you said that you went 90-day and then Starter. So maybe just give us some insight on, why you went from just in our product to then 90-day, and then maybe why you decided to make that even bigger commitment and go to Starter.
So in all of the education that we did in learning how to pick up properties and whatnot, it required some money. And what we found is as we were picking up properties and going through the ins and out on the investor side, there was going to be a point where you'd run out of money because sometimes you can't pull it back out of the property the way that we were doing it. So in doing my research, I realized that you all were picking up properties with no money down. And that really just spoke to me. And, just really looking at the program, it makes sense. It's not an easy thing to do by any feat, but it definitely makes sense if you trust the process.
And Gabriella, you have, I know you have a couple children. You got a couple things going on. So tell us how you're able to really juggle all this juggling act. How are you handling it all?
Yeah, it's every day is a struggle. It's almost like being in a program. So we have three little ones. And they're all girls. So just picture that.
Gabriella, I think we lost your audio. We can't hear you.
At the beginning of the year, where you're kind of planning and getting yourself together. You all spoke about getting yourself together, doing what you say you're going to do, and then sticking to that. Because when you don't, that's when things kind of start to crumble. And that has been my saving grace. So having a schedule, waking up, and just following it. When you don't follow the schedule and then you kind of have to piecemeal it together, that's when things start to get difficult.
Yeah, we lost a little bit of your audio. So if you don't mind, we'll continue going. But I know that you've had, and maybe Steve, you can chime in here in just a second as well. He's been your coach. Tell us what's going on. Tell us maybe your biggest successes so far, and then how you've been able to continue to spin that flywheel. And then we'll dive into your roadblocks and stuff as well.
I think it's really just been using the resources, reaching out to the different folks in the community, and trusting the process. So I haven't yet had it taken, But it's true what Steve says, with every experience that I've had, I've come close on several occasions. Most recently here, I had a couple, they were ready to sign on the dotted line. We had overcome all of their objections, and then they checked in with their accountant, and their accountant said, well, you know what, you all both started new jobs, and you need to take the capital gains loss on this. So they sold the property. But with every scenario and with every endeavor, there's been a learning experience, something that I know I'll be able to take on to the next seller that I speak with, where the process will go quicker and eventually I'll get a signature on the line.
Yeah, so as you've been, I think this is huge. And again, I'm going to jump to Steve in just 1 second here, because you had a very similar journey when it comes to maybe some of the knocking on the door multiple times without it going through. And I want to say it's not just Steve. It's probably been every single associate out there. It just depends on how quickly it ends up converting. And then, so how have you been able to continue to plow through, even though you've had some of these hiccups and these roadblocks?
You know, I think what it boils down to at the end of the day is your why, because I have other goals and we probably all have them. Like, I want to get to the gym. I want to choose the healthy meal instead of Burger King. But if your why is not strong enough with respect to how you're going to move forward, you're not going to move forward. And for me, it's family, being able to spend more time with family, get out of the rat race, be there for my kids. They're all girls. And just have more time with family, being able to realize the things that your family has done. So each quarter you set your goals, and you reward yourself. I want to be able to get to that point where I am my own CEO. I'm doing what I want to do, not because I have to, not because I have to wake up and follow this path from 9 to 5. I'm working this job, I get this paycheck. I just want to be able to make my own decisions and be there for my family.
So a question for Steve and Lauren, just because you guys are both working with, oh, there's Chris too. I thought Chris was over here. I'm just kidding. Speak to how you were collaborating as a team, as a coach and as an associate together to be able to continue to work through these roadblocks. Because I'm just going to make a guess here, but I would say a majority of people out there that if they didn't have their support system dialed in, they probably would have given up by now. There's a reason why real estate has such a high turnover, and that's because there's an easy barrier to entry, low barrier to entry, but it's hard to convert, and it takes time, and it takes a community. I recently just did a podcast on this entire thing where you have to have team support in order to be successful as an entrepreneur. So I'd love to hear Steve and Lauren's comments on how you guys are all collaborating as a team in order to continue to have Gabriella move forward.
Gabrielle, I just want to say one quick thing to you sharing your why like that. First of all, congrats because you're on the plane, and congrats because, as Steve and Lauren are going to address now, your pathway is exactly where it should be, and you're going to hit those goals as a CEO, and you're going to hit those goals financially, so congrats.
Yeah, I'll say, as Lauren,
Thank
I'll
you.
go on first.
I'm here.
I can say one thing just about Lauren and I's journey. And I remember in the very beginning, I guess the super benefit of having a spouse be on board and actually run the business with you. What we did was excuse my language, we made a shit list off the beginning. What do you not want to do? What do you want to do? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So we looked at that right away at our business of where were we going to excel? How can we stay in our lanes? And that's what Lauren and I did. This is what we were going to focus on. I was going to focus on calling sellers. I was going to focus on going on appointments, basically front-end business. And Lauren, at the time, was going to support all the admin until the buyer stuff came into play. And she was going to sell the house. And that's what we've been doing from day one. And it's been working well for us because we just know exactly what our strengths are. And we try to put ourselves in the positions where we can be the most successful.
Steve, people are requesting that you stop moving the mic and talk into it because it's fading in and out, just so you know.
Sorry.
He's very animated. It's okay. He's passionate.
I'm Italian.
I could sit on his lap. We could have him use this mic if he can't get it straight.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be terrific. Lauren, did you want to comment on that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, specifically for Gabrielle, I mean, she is somebody who's not sort of afraid to share what her struggles are, so she doesn't really live in this place of, not acknowledging how, maybe frustrated or bummed she is about something not going through. So I think she's able to sort of own it, you know what I mean? And then work through it and then just move on from it. So she's been able to lean on us for sure in that way, because again, we've been where she is. And, at Dev Day the other day, Steve talked about that too. Like, you're so close and it feels so far sometimes, so just being able to keep that mindset and keep pushing through and, leaning on your coaches and then leaning on the support of this awesome community. Nobody else understands like we do. So.
Zach, just because so many new people, we lose sight that it's all virtual and you guys are coming and going. Lauren just said Dev Day before the Spring Wicked Smart Summit coming up here in 22, and before this event every year, we do associate only development day. It's a whole day of training. And so if you're not an associate and you're deciding that perhaps over the weekend, you'll be with us in the spring. It'll be pretty cool, either virtually or in person.
And just to be clear too, guys, and this is the reason why Gabrielle, Lauren, and I have seen from the very beginning, there's certain things that she's doing that we just know that she's about to go over that hill. And it's the reason why is, one, accountability every night. Two, she absolutely smokes everybody on our channel with dials. She's just an absolute animal when it comes to that. She's going on appointments. She's sending call recordings in nonstop to continue to get better at what she's doing, to hone in her craft. She's literally passing in her weekly reports. It doesn't miss. So these are all specific keys to your business to show just a level of dedication as well. It doesn't mean that your journey won't have like frustrations attached to it, because of course there is, but she's doing literally everything that any of us who have been successful in this business are consistent with. And I think that's the word, Gabrielle, with you outside of, your skill set is absolutely dialed in, is consistency. It's just, it's not just doing a little bit every day. You are just hammering the phones and getting better and better and better. And that's why you're here right now, of course.
Well, that also leads me to my next question. I would say all of us had some sort of fear of the phone. And Steve just brings up a great point of you're doing what needs to be done in order to get to the next level. So how were you able to, maybe it wasn't a factor for you, but if it was, how were you able to really get comfortable on the phone, eliminate that fear, and to be able to make these types of, when we say dials, make outbound calls to sellers?
Before I answer that question, can I just acknowledge that Steve and Lauren have been awesome, and Steve is, the one that usually deals with us from the standpoint of your calls and whatnot. And it is great to be able to have somebody there for you, whether you have a question in Slack or you can call them or email, send them examples. I just wanted to say that's just phenomenal to be able to have that. And I know we've heard it said before that people pay phenomenal amounts of money to gain access to programs and coaches, but they don't always get what you think you paid for. But with this program, you get that. Okay, to handle that question, with respect to the phones, I think it just boils down to mindset. When I first got started, I listened, and the person that came up a lot was, back then, he was known as Seattle Jeff. So when I joined, I reached out to Seattle Jeff, and we got on a call. And what stuck out for me was he said, you know what? Above all, what you need to do is just get on the phone. So before I finished QLS or any of that, I just started calling people, and that was part of my practice, was just, oh man, they stumped me on one thing. And I was like, when you get stumped, you're like, all right, thanks for taking my call, and you get off the phone as quickly as you can. But the frustration of not being able to answer that question allows you to go on, study that, and then move on to the next thing that stumps you. And then each time you do it, it just gets easier, and it becomes part of your regular speech. Oh yeah, I got that. And that's basically how it was for me. The other thing is, it's the phone. So it's not Zoom, they can't see you. You may never speak to them ever again. So it's all about how you approach it in terms of mindset. You don't know these folks, so you really don't have a whole lot to lose by picking up the phone and calling them, making a mistake, or not knowing what to say. You can always get off the phone. Don't call that number again. It's just, it just boils down to how you think about it.
It's learning on the job.
Yeah, absolutely. Learning on the job, as Steve Merrick says. Is there anything that you would, we got brand new people on here right now, right? And now we have hindsight. Is there anything that, any words of wisdom that you would say to anybody that's just getting started here? Is there anything you would tell people in order to make sure that they were in the best successful position possible now that you have some hindsight?
I would say figure out why you want to do this and then jump in. And once you're in, just commit, treat it like a marriage. You want to get divorced, treat it like a marriage. Or in other words, treat it like your day job. If you don't go to your day job, you don't get paid. If you don't do the work, you don't get paid because eventually you're going to get fired. So treat it like where you're headed. If you want this to replace your day job and then you're no longer working in it, you start to work on it. That's basically all I would say is, figure out why you want to do it and then jump in and just do it.
I love that. Is there anybody that has, I know I'm throwing Gabrielle here on the spot. Does anybody have any questions for Gabrielle, maybe on how she's able to reach this successful point in her beginning of her career? Because you didn't have any real estate experience, or it sounded like you were doing some sort of deals ahead of time. Was that correct?
Yeah, we were basically what we did was we did a lot of research on YouTube with respect to, we knew we wanted to start investing in real estate. And of course, we've purchased our own properties and whatnot, but most of what we learned had been on YouTube University, like I said, or speaking to folks that have done a deal or two, reaching out to lenders and just peppering folks with questions, things where we had gaps. And when I say we, I mean my husband. And I should also, recognize that if you are married and you are a team, it's important that you speak to one another and make sure you're on the same page. But because with my working my W-2, and we did exactly what Steve and Lauren did, it happened naturally. We just know, okay, my husband's really type A. He's good with the organization, with IT stuff, and I'm not afraid to talk on the phone. So with my being on the phone a lot, he naturally had to pick up a little more daddy duties with the girls and dinner and things of that nature. So that is an important piece as well. If you do have a significant other, I will throw that out there.
All right, Valerie and John, looks like you have a question.
What are your daily goals like, or what are you holding yourself accountable to every day, every week?
So it changed after this weekend, but when I first started out, it was, okay, I want to make 15 to 20 dials. But then I started getting to the point where Steve was like, you know what? It's no longer about dials for you. So maybe your new goal should be speak to 5 people live. So you don't get up until you speak to 5 people. So it may be that I speak to 5 people in my first 10 calls, but because of how I'm wired, I was like, oh, that just doesn't feel like enough work to be able to get to where I'm going. So I added another goal. If I speak to 5 people live and it doesn't seem like I've made it anywhere that day, then I need to get a lead. And then of course I have to factor in how many kids have come in or banged on the door because they're like, hey, I can find this toy or what have you. You kind of have to be flexible with yourself and what else you have going on in life. But those are my goals pretty much, is I have to speak to 5 people or get a lead or an appointment. If I get an appointment, I don't care how many people I've spoken to for that day, I'm getting up.
I love that. That's the reward system. That's how I used to treat it when I first got started. It was, you have some reward system set up. If you have your goal in mind, because this is a results-driven business, you don't get paid by the hour because you're your own boss. You get paid based on the results you create. So if your big goal is, hey, I need an appointment, great. Well, now reward yourself, hop off the phone, go do whatever else you have to do, and then get back after it the next day after you're back after it.
I'll say something on
that. Chris said, well, I'm going to call him Zach. So Zach's got a question.
Gabrielle, I love that reward system. I'll just share with you. So I used to set up my week prospecting-wise to be Monday through Thursday if I nailed my contacts. If I didn't, because Friday was like an admin regroup day, then I would have to go in Saturday morning. As soon as the kids were younger, but that was the way I did it. So any kind of system you want to set up like that on top of accountability would work great. I love it.
Yeah, I think in addition too, just
That's
to throw.
exactly what I do. Sorry. That's
Oh,
exactly
okay.
what I do, Chris. So there are certain days that I do call. So I call on Mondays, Tuesdays, and we have our meeting on Wednesdays. Thursdays, we have associate meeting. Fridays, I call. Thursdays, sometimes I will call. So it's kind of like Chris says, if I don't accomplish what I set out to do on my calling days, then I got to figure out somewhere else within that schedule to catch up. Sundays is a family day and I try not to do anything, but if I have to catch up, I've got to do the family stuff first and then find some time to catch up to meet the weekly goal.
Yeah, I don't remember if you mentioned this, but what does your schedule look like on like a day-to-day basis?
So on the days that I call, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. so that I can start my W-2 job and get enough of that done so that I can make my calls somewhere in between 1 and 4. And I use part of my lunch break to do that. And if I'm not able to accomplish a goal, then I have to jump back on the phones when my W-2 job is done. But after I start homework with the kids, because they get home early. 2 are in regular school and 1 we can leave at daycare till about 5:30, 6 something, but I try not to do that. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm trying to do the exercise thing. So I wake up earlier, like maybe 4:45 to try to get ready to walk with my neighbor. And I walk for about 45 minutes or so. And also on Sunday mornings, I do that super early. And then get myself together so that I can work about 45 minutes to an hour of my W-2 job. And then when the kids get up, start getting them ready for school, feeding them breakfast. My husband takes everybody out. And then I start my W-2 job again. And so that I'd be able to make the calls within a 1 to 4 range. So it's really just scheduling. If I have a hiccup in any part of that, then it throws the whole puzzle off. And then you have to go looking for time, like Chris says. If you don't do what you say you're going to do, you got to figure out how to make it work. And the other free time or the days off that you have for yourself.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, because you basically said everything, Gabrielle. I was going to tell that story for you just now because I think it's amazing. We've heard a lot in the last couple of days of people talking about in the chat, how much time does this take? How many hours do I have to put it in? I don't have time. Oh, am I moving this again? Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have time? Well, what it comes down to is Gabrielle is creating, she's finding these gaps based on moving things around to make it work. It's not going to be easy. It's not easy for Gabrielle. It's not easy for the people that are in the association, but we make it work because if you are that passionate about changing the trajectory of you and your family's life, you'll do anything. Nothing's going to stop you. So, the fear of the unknown is scary, but once you fly through that door, on the other side is just opportunity and just a limitless potential. So don't let anything hold you back. Because look at Gabrielle, between balancing cooking, her job, walking, calling people, changing her schedule around, there's nothing stopping her. And she has every excuse in the world that she could have to not do it, but she is.
I'd love to hear from a couple other associates as well, because time is always an issue. You guys heard from Kayla and myself yesterday in that couples panel, having multiple businesses, having young children. There's no time off. Say on the week, I'm never rested on the weekends. Monday's always a bit tough. I'd like to hear from Austin Ron. I believe you had your first taken or even a first sold. So I'd love to hear what your schedule looks like and how you're balancing everything as well.
So I work a full-time job as well. Usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm up at about 4 a.m. I like to read, do kind of my morning routine. I get to the gym by 5, get home, get ready, get to work around 8 a.m. Sometimes I'll schedule some time to do some calls on my lunch break. But typically my office shuts down at 4:30. So, everybody kind of clears out. And instead of coming home to do dials where all the distractions are, I'll just sit there in my office, bang out calls till usually 6, 7 o'clock. And, it's helpful because, you know, I'm not hitting that late afternoon commute, which can, in Houston, I mean, that'll eat up about an hour, even though I'm only going 20 miles. So that's typically how I try to schedule my day. And then, you know, just like Gabby, if I'm behind or I got to play catch up, it's going to be on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday.
In Austin, because we got so many people that are, you know, maybe interested in joining the associate community. What made you decide to join us?
So it's really kind of funny how I found this group. So the house I'm in right now, I'm renting. I had gone through, you know, some financial difficulty a couple of years ago that I was rebuilding to go through, you know, to kind of get back on the par. I knew I wanted to have a house so that I could, you know, start to build wealth, and I wanted to be a homeowner. And so I talked to one of my good friends who's an investor, and he buys a lot of turnkey real estate and that type of stuff. And I asked him, I said, hey, you know, this house I'm in, I know the seller's motivated. Do you know anything about buying on terms, you know, subject to owner financing, anything like that? And he said, well, no, I don't, but I've read a really good book. And he recommended Real Estate on Your Terms. And so I read that book, I think that weekend, and then I jumped into the QLS study program, booked a strategy call. And really, I did all this just because I was trying to learn how to buy the house that I'm renting, right? Got a strategy call, and I think Brian was unavailable that day. So I booked a strategy call, talked to Chris, and I was kind of expecting it to be this sales pitch, right? Because that's usually how most of these, you know, the online coaches work, right? They book you in and they try to sell you their huge program. And Chris said nothing about that. He listened to my situation, listened to what I was trying to do, said, hey, here's my phone number, text me, here's the next steps. I'm going to coach you through this, right? And that really struck me because it wasn't, I mean, he was just completely giving of himself. I mean, look how busy he is with everything he's got going on. And he's going to take the time out to, you know, help some guy that he just met, right? And then I think I came to my first event, was the business scaling, and I saw the community, and I saw the people, and I saw the way this group interacted, and it was a no-brainer at that point.
It's all about empowering individuals and families, and I'm so glad that you found that book. And those of you that are interested in buying your own personal residence, if you go on our YouTube channel, I have two videos. One was the video in which I first bought my property on a lease purchase, and then the second video is which was 2 years later, on how I exited it instead of purchasing and qualifying for a loan. I then decided to sell it. I'd love to hear from, I know, Annalisa, you have an interesting job. I believe you're an opera singer. I'd be curious on how, especially going through your 90-day Jumpstart program, how your schedule has evolved, and I could be missing a bunch of things, and what your schedule looks like. I just want everyone to be super clear on, we all have these totally different paths, totally different lives right now, but we all figure out a way to get it done. So if you wouldn't mind, you could even sing your answer to us. That'd be awesome.
I'm not warmed up for singing, but yeah. So I am an opera singer. I've had a career spanning the globe. I've sung in I don't know, 11, 12 different languages and in 25 different countries. And I love music. It's my passion, and I'm very blessed to be able to still make my living in music. My husband and I are currently running an opera company. But with all those blessings, which are just innumerable, great retirement programs and are not part of it when you're in the arts. It's just not there. It's not about money. So it's long been a goal of mine to be able to set up something that would take me into not only my retirement years, but my husband's, and especially my younger daughter now, as she's becoming an adult. My sister and I got into real estate in 2013 also, and investing and doing private lending with a particular group. And so, yeah, I'm so busy. I'm crazy busy, but that's why I did 90-day jumpstart. I had to find out, was I going to be able to actually do it? Could I actually get through and all of this coursework, which felt like a fire hose of information, because even though I have some familiarity in real estate, it was a whole different kind of perspective for me and in this kind of business. So that's why 90-day jumpstart for me was really invaluable. I learned a lot, and I knew that I just had to get on the calls and get on the phone. And so I did. I just decided, and something that Brian said really kind of liberated me. He said, you've just got to get on the phone. Of course, we all know that. We've heard that. But he said, it's practicing. You're practicing. And I thought, I am good at practicing. I know how to rehearse. Okay. So I just looked at it that way. I'm not trying to convert everybody that I talk to. I'm trying to get comfortable, and I'm trying to find who I can help and who I can speak to. And so I was never really that afraid once I jumped in. Sometimes I find myself being really relieved when nobody picks up the phone and I leave a message. I have to be honest about that. But I have found that even with my crazy busy schedule, you know, every week is different for me, because I'm going to rehearsals. I have students. I have my other business that I'm running with my sister. And so I just start off on every weekend. I sit down and I block out my time. If you look at my calendar now, you'll see there's an hour and a half here and an hour and a half there, an hour and a half here. It says calls. And that's what I block out that time. And, you know, sometimes things do come up. Things get in the way. It's just like Gabrielle said, you find another time slot, you push it off until later in the week. And you know, I started off my first week. I only did I think it was 6 styles in my first week when I was just getting started. And then I got up to 30, and then I got to 75, I got to 85 a week. So my goal is to hit 100 real soon. But it's just a matter of finding that time and setting it aside. And it actually doesn't have to be the same schedule every week, if that's how your life is. You've just got to plan it in advance. I find if I don't plan it in advance, that time will just disappear. So I really highly recommend 90-day Jumpstart. And for me, what it taught me, not only all the great things about this business, the amazing community, the support has been tremendous, but it proved to me that I could do it. And so I'm excited to have my sister on these calls right now. And she's excited too, and we're leveling up. So it's really working out just as I'd hoped.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And congrats on your upgrade to immersion. I'm just curious, why did you decide to make that leap? Because that's a big commitment.
Well, like I said, I had to start with 90-day to see if it's something I could do, and see if it was something that I felt good about. One of the things that I love about the way that Wicked Smart teaches is the success rate for the buyers, and that so many other there's lots of other rent-to-own programs out there, but they don't care about the buyers, and they don't care about success for them, and they're just after money. And so that is something very important to me. I want to see those people succeed. And I love the fact that we're creating something where they can. I was intrigued as soon as I heard that you had this credit enhancement system where you were sending your buyers to. I thought, no, that really makes sense. You're not just putting them in a home and trying to steal their down payment from them when they fail. You're trying to get them to their goals. And so that's something that we can all feel really, really good about.
Love that. Did you have a comment, Chris?
A couple things.
All right, over to Zach.
A couple things. First of all, Annalisa, congrats. I echo what Zach was saying, because it's inevitable. Here we are sitting in September. It's inevitable that you're going to hit the leaderboard, which is what we track with all our associates deals for everybody to know, probably in the coming months, and probably every month. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm holding the leaderboard. I printed it out this morning. There's 9 names on the leaderboard. That means there's 9 different transactions already. This was before this event started, so probably as of the 10th of September, there was 9 people who have experienced a deal of some type. That's pretty cool. And Annalisa, you'll be on there, I'm sure. So I guess for everyone else, I got 2 comments. 1, why not you? I said that this morning. 2, why not think about setting yourself up for the end of the year, the holiday season, if you will, and make that the best year end you've ever had. Because some of you will get what we call a taken. You'll get a deal in the contract. And some of you will actually cash those out before the year end if you take action right now. You absolutely could do that. Is it everyone do that? No. But some of you will actually hit that by being engaged in the process here. And I'm also fully aware that some of you might not even be here next event, sadly, because life gets in the way. We're all immersed in this cool process right now, but life gets in the way. And all the doubt and all the people that don't want you to go anywhere, they'll get in the way too in the next coming days. So I invite you to stay super focused, to anchor what you did here, what you heard here, who you were around here, and then why not stay in that? Was it not a cool 2 or 3 days? Why not stay in that process for the next decade? Just hang out with us. So that's my thoughts. I don't know if you have any other thoughts, Steve.
No, I'm just going to say, in addition to that, all you students who have been working your buns off since January or the spring, you're about to enter into the fun part of the year, because filling that funnel, this is when it starts to come out the other side, and I'm super excited for you guys who have been just killing it all year round. This is where you're going to harvest.
I love it. And I wanted to ask.
Back to you, Chris.
I just wanted to ask, as we wrap this up, Cammie and Greg, are you available? I know I got to give you a quick delay.
Yes, we are available.
What are, because we're speaking to a lot, we're speaking to a lot of people that are just getting started. If you were to go back in time, or if you were to speak to new students today, what are like the top 2 or 3 things that you see that brings success day one to these students? Like that kind of puts people on a fast track, if you can label maybe a couple things to get people thinking.
Yeah, that's so funny that you asked that, because I was literally sitting here listening to Gabrielle, and I just was like, that is the path.
Yes, it is.
If you listen to her, she told you what the path to success is she made the decision, she committed to it, she made dials, she took action every day, even if it was, only for a short period of time, but she has made that commitment, and she's taking daily action. And I am so excited. She's not even my student, but she is somebody that I watch on 90 Day, which is just a little tidbit that I want to put out there, is that I love that we get to see what's going on in our whole community. And so you are somebody that we have watched, and we knew that you were going to be successful because you are taking action and you're posting, and we watched that. So you are doing everything that is leading to your successful pathway, for sure. You want to add anything?
No, ditto.
Oh, come on, Greg.
No,
great ad.
Well, I'll just say that, Gabrielle, especially the commitment is huge. And to be honest with you, listening to you, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I need to get back and doing that again too, because it's so more inspirational what you hear. So everyone really take to heart what Gabrielle just said. It's awesome.
I love that. Well, Gabrielle, congratulations on everyone who's creating those small wins and are just getting started in this journey. As Chris asked earlier, like, why not you? Why not you be the next story that we talk about at Wicked Smart Kickstart in the next couple of years, or at one of our upcoming events, or throughout our Slack channel and our constant communication with associates. So congratulations. I know success is happening right now for each and every one of you.